Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Lenore Zuck Hughes, 1968 Trip Around the World, Part 2. This was the trip that she took with her husband Dale. And Lenore was my father's mother's sister, one of her sisters. We stopped last time when they were in India. April 15th, 1968. Our flight back to Delhi was a little rough. At the airport, we saw the leader of the Indian cult, which so many of our people have been coming to India to study with, named Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. He was of medium height, long beard, flower li around his neck, long dirty white robe and barefoot. Mia Farrell, Frank Sinatra's ex-wife, is one who has spent time in India studying his teachings, along with the Beatles. This would be a good place for all the flower children. Our hotel in Delhi is excellent, and again we visited the carpet store in the hotel. We bought another 4x6 carpet, 650 knots per inch, just like silk, the world's finest, $400. April 16th, 1968. Our sightseeing here in Delhi has been wonderful. Mosques everywhere in this city of 3 million souls. We visited Mahatma Gandhi's tomb, Jawaharlal Nehru's also, the Hindu temple where Gandhi opened the first services. There are ruins of the old city everywhere. Green parrots flying and jacaranda trees are all in full bloom. Drugs are about 1/5 the price of U.S., and we laid in some medicine for tourist disease, just to be on the safe side. The view of this vast city was inspiring from our hotel rooftop, where the four of us spent over an hour. We saw Sound and Light at Red Fort, terrific. The Sound and Light folder is attached. This performance was stereophonic, and the lighting effects were beyond belief, really an inspiring evening. April 17th. Off to Tehran, Iran at 7:40 a.m. by Boeing Airlines. When we arrived at the airport, BOAC was having serious trouble with one of the jet engines. After boarding the plane and having breakfast, we deplaned and returned to Delhi for the day at the Ashoka Hotel at Boeing's expense. This hotel was rather old, but we did have a good nap. Then after dinner, we went back to the airport, where we finally got off for Tehran at 10 o'clock p.m. We gained 2 hours en route to Tehran and arrived at midnight their time. We did have a comfortable room where we got much needed sleep before our morning departure for Beirut, Lebanon. We missed our sightseeing in Tehran, which was too bad, especially seeing the crown jewels. April 18th. En route now by Pan Am for our 3.5-hour flight to Beirut. It is bright and sunny, and from 35,000 feet up we see the most beautiful snow-covered mountains, fertile valleys, rivers, and lakes. We can't help but marvel at the great change in the city of Tehran. It is a big city of 3 million, wide double-lane boulevards, new buildings, traffic jams, clean with a true air of prosperity everywhere. Such a contrast from India, and such a change from our last visit there 3 years ago. This afternoon we have sightseeing in Bailu, the oldest ruins we know anything about in our world, 6,000 years old. The drive to Bailu from Beirut takes us along the Mediterranean Sea, very scenic. We checked into the Phoenicia Intercontinental Hotel, the same one Dale and I were in 3 years ago. Nice to be back. The bus ride along the sea was very colorful. Huge ocean-going ships lying at anchor, waiting their turn to get to the unloading docks. On our return trip, the native fishing boats were in with their catches of fish, ready to be sold. We had a light meal in our room and went to bed at 6:30. Our time is upset since we gained 3.5 hours these past 2 days. April 19th. Our sightseeing started at 8:30 this morning by bus for Baalbek ruins that are classed as one of the wonders of the world. Such gigantic size are the old Roman pillars, and what beauty in the stone carvings of the frescoes, the finest in the world. These 3 temples were not completed as we could see in parts of the work. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of slaves worked on this project. Single stones weighing 150 tons, fitted into place without cement of any kind. These ruins lie at the end of a very fertile valley, really more beautiful than the Vole of Kashmir. Nomad gypsies were camped many places throughout the valley, and dozens of shepherds were tending their flocks of sheep. The grapes and apples, peaches, cherries raised here are the world's finest, and most of the trees were in full bloom. In getting to this valley, we crossed a mountain range, 6,000 feet high, snow-covered. On our return trip, the clouds covered the mountains, and what a drive we had. We saw 3 accidents as the wet roads were very slippery, and visibility was not more than 50 feet. This ride was a thriller. Tonight, Becky Hillman and Marguerite are having a cocktail party to present Ruth McNamara a salad bowl set the group bought for her. April 20th. A free day in Beirut, Lebanon, so Dale and I headed on foot for the downtown area. We had no trouble finding the shopkeepers that sold gold, and Dale bought another bracelet for me that matched my Italian necklace, a real beauty. We also bought some gold coins, 5 $1 pieces, 1 $2.50 piece, and 2 $3 pieces. We surely had fun. Beirut is a truly interesting city, and a beautiful spot too. Our flight left for Nicosia at 5:30, and we arrived at Cyprus an hour later. It's raining in Cyprus. April 21. Easter here, a week later than our Easter, Sunday. Our hotel, the Cyprus Hilton, is a real beauty. We started sightseeing at 9:15 a.m., the first stop at the President's Palace. Our whole party was greeted by the President, who gave each of us a red Easter egg and a welcome. This is the Sunday the Greek Orthodox Church celebrates Easter. The palace was beautiful, a real treat to see. We drove through the country about 45 miles, saw the farmlands, flocks of flat-tailed sheep with shepherds watching over them. Cyprus is a beautiful island, mountains, a huge salt lake, 2 huge English army posts, many United Nations soldiers on duty, some in army tanks ready for business. We visited several Greek churches, also a mosque where Muhammad's mother's sarcophagus was. It is the 3rd place in importance where Muslims pilgrimage. It had been deserted and was very run down, was under the direction of the army. Cyprus is a beautiful island and has had much strife the last few years between the Turks and Greeks. Our food has been excellent here. The whole country is clean. Our flight is late tonight, and after we arrive in Tel Aviv, Israel, we have a 2-hour bus trip to Jerusalem. April 22nd. Today has been outstanding. We began by walking through the old city of Jerusalem. It was not crowded today, and we had an excellent guide. I've gotten so much more out of this trip than our last one. We visited the Via Dolorosa, the Dome of the Rock, Golgotha, where Christ was crucified and was entombed. The old narrow streets with their small shops were much cleaner than before. The Jewish people have really cleaned this city up, and there surely are not many Arabs around. We went to Bethlehem, where Jesus was born, back through the Valley of the Shepherds. We went out to the Dead Sea through the wilderness, where we saw many remains of the burned tanks that had been destroyed during the war last June. We have seen many soldiers everywhere. The Jews are making changes, cleaning up, tearing down old buildings. Particularly, we notice this at the Wailing Wall, where they are widening the area so that there is a wide open space for the people to come and pray. April 23rd. This has been a full day. We started from our hotel at 9 o'clock a.m., first visited the Garden Tomb, which to me is more nearly the true place of Jesus' burial, a very beautiful spot, matching the story in the scriptures. We entered the city that had been the Jewish sector until last June, when they occupied all of the city along with much land gained from the Arabs. First, we drove through the University of Jerusalem, all built within the last 20 years, one of the world's finest universities. We entered the specially designed building housing the Dead Sea Scrolls. It is built largely underground with temperature and humidity structure matching the caves where the scrolls were found. This has been one of the finest things we have done. We actually saw the scrolls. I bought several postcards as photography was not allowed to show how clear the writing on the scrolls is and how they are housed. One day's drive took us to many places of religious history, to Nazareth where Jesus lived with Mary and Joseph, through many valleys, all beautiful, on to the Sea of Galilee, the second lowest place on earth, 380 feet below sea level. The Jordan River begins on Mount Hermon, flows into the Sea of Galilee, and on down to the Dead Sea. Our hotel was right on the shore of the lake, 15 miles long and 8 miles wide. A delightful spot. Birds galore, beautiful flowers. We gathered stones. What a full day. Our guide is excellent, although Jewish doesn't try to influence what we think of things. April 24th. We started early for a ride across the Sea of Galilee, an hour ride. Oh, what a nice place this is with mountains everywhere. We landed at Capernaum. There is so much history of the time of Christ, it is hard to comprehend all of it. We saw where the Sermon on the Mount was delivered, where Jesus fed the multitude. Every inch of this country around the Sea of Galilee abounds with interesting memories. On we went to a kibbutz chantia for our night's stay, arriving at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. These kibbutz, 280 of them in Israel, are the most interesting project we have seen of modern goings-on here. This is a commune where everyone shares a like way of living. The one where we are staying and can observe firsthand has 400 members. Each couple has an apartment consisting of bedroom, library, bath, and small cooking accommodations. The children after birth are cared for in cottages by themselves, 6 in each unit. Parents visit with them for 3 or 4 hours each day. Women work just like the men. Washing, ironing are done for them. All cooking is done also. Dining takes place in a huge dining area. The pay is nominal and in script. We had our dinner at a very unusual place in a bohemian area of the old city that is being improved for tourist attraction. April 25th. We started early for a full-day trip through Haifa, Acre, the old seaport, visited a Baha'i temple and grounds, where a world congress of this religion was in session, so we didn't get to enter the church. This religion embraces the 9 major faiths of the world, seems to be gaining much popularity, has a temple in Washington, D.C., and one in Wilmette, Illinois. Rather interesting, and some of our group seem to lean in this direction. Haifa is a really booming seaport, a beautiful city with much building and industry. We had a very late departure from Tel Aviv for Istanbul, Turkey at 2 o'clock a.m., arriving at 4 o'clock a.m. April 26th. The Istanbul Hilton is a lovely hotel, and we are enjoying it to the fullest. Our sightseeing didn't begin until 2:30 p.m., for we were tired after our early arrival. Paul Kohler's daughter called, and they will have dinner with us tomorrow night. We are thrilled by this large city with over 400 mosques, underground cisterns from the Crusader days, not used now, and its bazaar, where we enjoyed looking for an hour. Our room with lanai faces the Bosporus, and we hear the many boats whistle and the sounds of the water activity. The university is here, the world's largest, 48,000 students. I bought a coat and Dale bought a copper pot. April 27th. The dinner party was canceled because Kohler's daughter couldn't get a babysitter. We had had a full day on the boat trip up the Bosporus. Hillsides were ablaze with redbud. This is extremely scenic country. In the afternoon we saw St. Sophia's Mosque, went to the bazaar for an hour, really a sight, but we didn't buy anything. We leave for Athens, and our tour will separate there after a trip to the Acropolis, etc. I bought a lovely white leather coat. Now I'll get fun out of wearing it. We shopped this afternoon. April 28th, Sunday. We had a mid-morning flight to Athens, Greece. This Hilton Hotel is very nice out from town. This afternoon we have our city tour. The last time we were here we couldn't get out of the bus because of rain, so we are enjoying tramping through the ruins atop the Acropolis. What a civilization these Greeks had. Tonight we go to the Sound and Light program, quite similar to the one in New Delhi, India, but not as good. However, the music was fine, and the lighting effects were lovely on the temples on the Acropolis. Our farewell dinner was very ordinary. Really, the tour company should not plan these native food get-togethers. Not too good. April 29th. After goodbyes to the members of our group, we were transferred to the Grand Brittany Hotel downtown. It is fun being downtown as we can dash out for shopping, etc., but we haven't had any luck finding anything to buy. I guess our tastes are somewhat jaded. We've seen too much to buy elsewhere. Becky Hellman and Marguerite passed our hotel and came up to our rooms for drinks. Catherine invited them to stay for dinner, which they seemed to appreciate. Our hotel is old-fashioned, has been a grand place in its day, still comfortable, and the food is good. April 30th. We took the boat trip to the Greek islands of Aegina and Hydra with a box lunch on board at noon. The scenery is simply beautiful, weather bright and sunny. We made a stop at Aegina and had a bus trip to the old ruins on the topmost hill. Red poppies blooming everywhere and wildflowers too. Pistachio nut trees are abundant along with olive trees. Aegina is a lovely island and the Mediterranean is very blue. This is real fun. Hydra, our next stop, was very quaint and lovely. An artist colony for sure, picturesque. We didn't arrive back in Athens until dark, a fine day. May 1st, Wednesday. The diary ends here. And we have one comment from from the original publication, and it was from my father, John S. Ray, quote, "Another exciting issue. What super exciting trips Dale and Lenore took. They are great shoppers, real experts on things made of gold. They much appreciate the things of beauty, and Lenore's descriptions really bring them to life. Thanks very much for another great issue. John S. Ray, Rocky River, Ohio, USA." Well, that concludes today's presentation. Lenore Zuck Hughes, 1968, Trip Around the World, Part 2. Good luck to you with your efforts in family history. If this interests you, finding, preserving, and sharing old letters, diaries, and photographs, and interviewing elderly relatives while they're alive. Thanks so much for watching. You might consider checking out our website, Adventures in History, with Peter J. Ray at peterjray.com. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.